everybody. Today I've got my lovely husband Tim with me, and he doesn't really want to be interviewed. Tim, we've been married for 32 years now.
I've lost count.
I think,
Sounds...
Very long suffering as a husband, aren't you? Tim, first question I've got for you is, we are retired, but...
It doesn't feel like it.
No.
We're rather busy.
What's your favourite hobby?
It's got to be gardening, really, because I like being outside.
And I think that's because you just want to get away from me.
No comment.
So my next question for you, Tim, it's going to get a bit harder.
Oh dear.
Is, when we first welcomed our sons as foster children, because they weren't adopted at that point, what can you remember about it?
Yeah, they actually came up to me first of all, rather than you, which was quite interesting. And initially they were very scared, not sure of anyone. But eventually they did accept a cuddle within a few minutes, and that's all that I did first of all. Nothing more than that. It was me as the male figure rather than the female. I guess that's not always the case, but for us it was. Which
really does show how crucial your role was right from the beginning. Are there any key challenges that you think you faced as a dad, as a foster carer or an adopter, that might be useful for other dads to know?
I think parenting somebody else's child rather than your own birth child is very, very different, and trying to make that adjustment as somebody who's had birth children was really hard, and still is, to be honest. You need a lot more patience, a lot more understanding. You approach things in a slightly different way. You've got to be on your toes all the time.
I just want to say that we've got 5 birth children, so that's why Tim's comparing with what it's like to parent our own children, so it is quite different, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
So, what is the most irritating thing about me? Be careful what you say.
Or about you. No, that's a difficult one.
How many have you got?
There's a number of things that are irritating about you. No, you're very forceful when you want to be and get your own way a lot of the time.
There you go. That's quite honest, I think. What do you feel you've been able to give our sons over the years? What's been the most satisfying thing, do you think?
I think giving them the attention that they crave. Sometimes that can be really hard, because they would demand constant attention and they would want it all the time and never let you have any time to yourself. Oh yeah.
You do spend quite a bit of time with them.
Yeah, I guess whatever time you put in, you get back as a reward.
So has fostering and adoption changed you, do you think?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, it makes you think about life more, appreciate your own situation and the blessings which you've got already. Makes you a lot more grateful. And sometimes it does make you, even though life is terribly busy, it does make you slow down, because you can't always do the extra things that you might want to do, because you've got to prioritise those children. That's
good for us, because we like to be busy, which is a positive, but it's also a negative, isn't it? And I think we probably would be super duper on the go all the time, but the boys make sure that we don't do that. So where should we go on holiday when lockdown is lifted, Tim? Where shall we go?
Well, we've always liked a hot European holiday for some time, but I'm fancying a bit of maybe Eastern European culture.
Whoa, we need to be more specific than that, please.
Vienna it's not quite Eastern European. Maybe
Vienna sounds good to me.
Vienna is good enough. Yeah.
To be honest, anywhere sounds good when you're stuck at home 24/7. Biggest behavioural challenge that you found with, well, one or other or both of our sons?
2 conflicting sides. One of them is very quiet, difficult to get information out of him, get him to talk, get him to communicate. And I can find that very frustrating.
Yeah, I don't find that as difficult, I don't think.
Whereas the other one tends to have his bad outbursts and suddenly he's flying off the handle, uncontrollable, and needs to be brought back down somehow, which sometimes we manage and occasionally we don't.
You manage really well, I think. But so those are the 2 things.
We need each other, to be honest, especially with that one.
So one of them's kind of the withdrawing side, and the other one's the outburst.
Yes.
The biggest benefit overall, would you say, to you for adopting?
I just love having children around and being able to encourage them and help them to grow and develop and learn. And obviously all our other children had moved on, and it means we can still have an input into a young child's life in a very real way.
Yeah, that's it, because our children are now, the youngest is 22, So yeah, it's a bit like starting all over again,
definitely.
Isn't it? Advice for any new adopters, if they're going to be dads.
Get stuck in straight away. Don't hold back. Don't watch your partner or the other one, whoever it is, do all the work. Just, even if you make mistakes, you live and you learn. You won't know everything. You're doing a lot of things for the first time. You've just got to get on with it. And yes, you will make mistakes, but next time you do that, you'll be better at it.
That's great advice. And I mean, you're very hands-on. You've always been very hands-on as a dad, which I really appreciate, because we were running a business before we retired and with 5 children as well. So you're playing yourself down, like, you're very, very helpful. And I think because you've put a lot into it, you've got a lot out. Any advice to adopters who have already adopted but they're really struggling? So say they're 6 months, a year in, and they're struggling. Is there any advice you would give them?
I think the biggest piece of advice there is to not do it alone and to shut yourself off, but to reach out to others, whether that's family, whether it's friends, whether it's neighbours, whether it's fellow adopters. Just reach out to somebody and don't go into your shell, but make sure you cry out for help, because we've all been there, and we've all needed help at some point or another, even if it's just for somebody to look after the children and give you a day out so you can take a bit of time off. Bit of time out and refresh and recuperate.
Yeah, that's good advice. Thank you very much.
My
You didn't want
pleasure.
to do this at all, did you?
Not really.
No. Well, I got my own way. So.
As always.
So if you found that interesting and you think a channel that's going to give you support, advice and tips and help, it's going to be good for you, then please take the time to subscribe, and I'll see you on some of my other videos.